guys and gals, Nary here from Drake Wing Gamers, sending me on Twitter, The Gaming Dragon. Today I'm coming back at you another Let's Play episode of Violet Memoir, Lucas's Path. So yeah, let's go ahead. Actually, I wanted to just go ahead and tell you, since it's still relatively new, I am now an affiliate of Green Man Gaming. What that means is that there's going to be a link in the description that you just click on the link. It takes you to the site. It's got all kinds of great deals and discounts for you. You buy anything through that link, I get a wonderful bit of commission off whatever y'all buy. So anyway, y'all, let's go ahead and jump right back in. Alarm Chan, you are up, and let's go. Okay. Are you okay? Are you hurt? He doesn't respond, but his ears flick at the noise. He's definitely hearing me. Whatever's going on, he's in too much shock to do anything. There's very limited light, but I can make out the vague details of him. It doesn't look like he's injured, but just very frazzled and rigid. He's having an episode and he needs help. He needs my help. Lying myself flat on my stomach, I shimmy myself into the hole head first. No need to go in sideways like Lucas is. Hey, I'm coming in. Don't panic, okay? And guys, I'm going to be a little bit quieter. I've got my roommates around the house. I've kind of got my door a little bit open. Kind of too lazy to get up and close it right now. Again, there's no response, but he does let out a whimper and nod. The motion is so short and slow that I almost miss it. I've seen Lucas upset and panicked, but I've never seen this level of raw terror in his eyes before. He's completely paralyzed with fear. Letting out a grunt as I bump my head against the roof of his cavity. I halt my movement to try and rub at the spot, but I can't maneuver my hand to reach it. I didn't realize how cramped it was in here. It's rather suffocating. No wonder he's panicking. I'm just glad I'm not claustrophobic. It's incredibly hot in here. It feels like a furnace. My fur is beginning to get slick with sweat, pressing down against my skin. Maybe if I'm lucky, that slickness will help if I get stuck. Pushing onwards, I manage to slide myself close enough to be able to reach out and touch him. The fur on the back of his hands are matted down with sweat. They're damp and shaking with fear. Shuffling a little closer, I slide my hand into his and grip it, making sure my touch is gentle. I don't need to upset him any further. Hey, it's okay. It's just me. I'm here to help. There's no response at first, but he squeezes my hand into a tight vice, claws digging into my hand. It's not enough to do any damage, but I do wince in pain. Hope he didn't see that. He still doesn't say anything, but I can hear his breathing getting quieter, calmer, and the shaking in his hand is reduced to a small tremble. He still has my hand trapped in the death grip, but it's progress. It doesn't look like he's going to hyperventilate now, which is a good sign. But Luke, Wallace... His voice is raspy, and there's a cracking in it that reminds me of a teenager hitting puberty. It sounds so pitiful that I just want to wrap him up and hide him away from everything. I'm here. It's okay. I've never had to calm someone down like this before. I don't know if I'm doing it right, or if I'm just making things worse, but I just think it's working. I can't breathe. I can't fucking breathe. It's so tight. His breathing begins to pick up again, turning back into pants. Looks like I spoke too soon. Hey, don't freak out. It's okay. You're safe and nothing's gonna happen. I'll get you out of here. Okay. We both stop talking after that. The only sound is Lucas's heavy breathing, but even that soon shrinks into quiet huffs. He's still holding my hand in a tight grip, but he's looking considerably better than when I first found him. Are you doing better? Yeah, a bit. Everything's so fucking close, but you're helping a lot. Please, don't let go. I won't. I promise. Thank you. Thank you so fucking much. It's hard to see with my body blocking most of the light coming in, but even in the dimly lit darkness, I can see just how wet his eyes are. Can you move? I'll try to help you out. I think I can. Don't let go, please. Running my thumb. 1 second, y'all. Give me 1 moment. Let me go ahead and close that door. People make noises. 1 second. 1 second, y'all. Alright, I'm back. Alrighty. Running my thumb along his knuckles, I try to reassure him as much as I can. Pulling my hand lightly, I give him a small tug in my direction. Nothing strong, but just to help indicate which direction I am. I won't. Just come this way and focus on me, nothing else. With a whimper of confirmation, I can hear him shuffling around, but only for a couple of seconds before I hear a light thudding sound. Oh my god, I hit something! Oh fuck, Wallace! His breathing sharply picks up and he squeezes my hand even tighter. At this rate, he's going to actually draw blood or even break my hand. You probably just hit a wall. Just focus on me and try to calm down. He doesn't respond, but I can hear him shuffling again. From my limited vision, I can see he's turning himself so he's facing towards me. Wanting to help him as much as I can, I reach my other hand to interlock with his remaining one. Without hesitation, he interlocks our fingers and gives a firm squeeze. I'm not sure if it's the position or the extra contact, but his death grip on my other hand lessens to a much more manageable tightness. That's when I notice that his trembling and panting have stopped completely. His fur is still standing on end, but he looks significantly better than earlier. However, when I try to shuffle backwards to get further out of the hole, I figure out it's a lot harder without the use of your hands. After a couple seconds of useless wiggling, I left unsure how to proceed when a sound I didn't think I'd hear echoes in front of me. It's Lucas, and he's laughing, and I must have had an interesting look on my face because he looks away with his ears pressed down to hide their deepening red inners. Sorry, I've been focusing on you to try and ignore what's going on, and you were pretty funny. Nope, it's fine. I like hearing you laugh. It's much better than seeing you so scared and crying. You like hearing me laugh? Of course, you got a great laugh. It makes a choking sound that's so disgustingly cute that it causes me to have to look away now. Normally I would fret that this isn't the time for this, but if it's actively calming Lucas down, then I do it 1,000 times. Hey, I'm gonna let go of one of your hands for a moment, just to get me further out. It won't be long, okay? There's a whine so quiet I barely picked it up, but in the dim light, I'm able to see Lucas nodding. Giving his hand one final squeeze, I let go and use my now free appendage to shove myself further out, guiding Lucas with me. Eventually, I'm able to get myself far enough so that only my upper body is left in the cavity. Twisting my legs, I'm able to get enough of a grip without the use of my hands. Reaching back in, Lucas snatches up my hand, and the shaky breath he lets out allows me to know just how close he is to panicking again. Just a little further. Okay. After a couple more minutes, his head and arms exit the hole, and the gasping breath he lets out is accompanied by a sob, but it sounds so full of relief it brings a smile to my face. It's time he lets go of my hands and pulls himself out in a flurry of movement, after often smacking his tail against something I can't see, likely the roof or floor. When he's finally able to scramble himself out of the gap, he shoves himself as far away from it as he can, leaning against the opposite wall. He's back to shaking again, but he looks much more stable than before. Making himself as unthreatening as possible, I slowly step towards him, but he makes no movement to stop me. Crouching down next to him, I slide an arm around his back and rub gently. I don't want him to be upset, but I don't want to leave him by myself more. Hey, are you... I'm cut off when he turns and throws himself against me, wrapping his arms around me in a tight hug as he buries his nose into my neck. That's when I hear the sobs again and the trembling begins again. Returning his hug, I know it's not the time for words. Right now, he needs someone to be here for him and not prod him. I'm more than happy to provide that. So we sit there until the trembling and sobs stop. I'm not sure how much time passes, but soon enough he's just breathing softly into my neck. If I had to guess, it's been around 5 minutes. Feeling better? With a sniffle, he pulls away and adjusts his fur, trying to look presentable, but his eyes are still bloodshot. The fur around his eyes are completely matted down. The surrounding dampness isn't doing them any favors either. Yes, thank you. I'm just not good with small spaces. I'm sorry for freaking out like that. It's okay. There's nothing wrong with being scared of something. I'm just glad you're doing better. Thanks to you. If you didn't show up, who knows how long I would have been stuck there. I'm so pathetic. That's when he begins to lift his arms towards his head, and for a moment, I forgot why this gives me a sinking feeling until he grips his ears firmly and pulls on them. Lucas, stop that! Don't beat yourself up! Not waiting for a reply, I grab his hands and try to dislodge them from his ears. He resists for a second, but gives in and releases them. Pulling him close, I examine them for any damage. There's some indents where his claws pressed against the skin, but it doesn't look like he drew blood anywhere. Thank God. What happened? Why were you in there? I don't know. I just woke up and couldn't move. Everything was dark except for some light poking in from my side. He gives another sniffle and begins to tidy up his clothes, redoing his tie and patting down his clothes. It doesn't help his disheveled appearance, but I can't bring myself to not be happy that he's okay. That's when I thought I was trapped in some kind of box, and I began to panic. I couldn't move or breathe until you saved me. He slides over and wraps his arms around one of mine, leaning against me like he's barely able to keep himself straight. I never noticed before, but I think Lucas is shorter than me. He always looked taller because of his large ears, but now that he's leaning against me like this, I think he's a couple inches shorter. I'm still a little shaky. Can I lean against you while we walk? Would you want to stay here for a bit? Fuck no. I want to get out of here as fast as possible. This place is a fucking nightmare. I have to actively push down a chuckle with his snappy attitude. I know he's been through a lot, but whenever he bites like this, I can't help but find it a little cute. I think it's mostly just seeing him returning to his usual self. Alright, I'm standing up. It's very awkward, but after almost falling over on the first attempt, we're able to get onto our feet on the second try. Looking around, he's got a very confused look on his face. Where are we? A clinic? An abandoned hospital, I think. I woke up in an office and ran into Lily in a hallway. We got split up and I went down here while she went to the emergency room. What's this area then? Speech and language rehabilitation. He scrunches up his nose at that. That's enough for me to know he definitely knows more. There's a lot more disdain etched onto his face than I was expecting. Hey, have you ever been to one of these before? When I was younger, I had problems socializing with other kids and people in general. I've gotten better at them, but I still have some problems. He says that. His brows furrow and he looks to be pondering something. It's obvious that there's more than he's letting on, but I don't want to pry, especially not after what he's just been through. This place is a lot warmer than the rest of the hospital. I think they have heaters on or something. I guess we lucked out here, right? I try to give Lucas a smile, but he doesn't return it. His ears just press down against his head, his arms pull mine tighter against his chest. It's too cramped here. I don't like it. I'm about to respond when a growl escapes Lucas's lips and I'm left speechless, startled out of doing anything besides staring down in concern. He looks agitated, but not with me. I'm sorry. This whole situation is awful. I'm just selfishly complaining. That's when I notice the mist in his eyes. Tears threaten to come out at any moment. He looks so upset, so angry at himself that it's like a knife in my gut. It's okay to be upset. It's not a bad thing. You just went through a lot. You earned the right to be a little on edge. No, I shouldn't keep doing this. But, please, it's okay. I'll be fine. Just let me hang on to you, please. Of course. Hold on as long as you like. Reaching over with my far hand, I gently rub Lucas's shoulders. They're still tense, but he looks miles better than how he did in that hole. Thanks, Wallace. You're a real friend. I'm still not used to saying that. That's when I feel Lucas's tail on the back of my leg. It's light as if it's swaying back and forth, but the fact that I can feel it is like a wave of relief. He's doing better than before. I wish he wasn't always so hard on himself. He acts like what he's doing is always wrong, but it's not a bad thing to be upset. It's not a bad thing to want to change, but I wish he'd be a bit nicer to himself because he's a lot greater than he thinks. It's so fucking hot in here. This is actually hell. Now that he mentions it, it does feel even hotter than it had when I first came in here. Is it because we're getting deeper, or maybe it's because of how worked up I got for helping Lucas? Something about it feels strange. Or maybe he's having him pressed up against me. Maybe it's having him pressed up against me. Suddenly much more aware of the feeling of Lucas's hip rubbing against my own, and the feeling of the fur on his arms brushing my own. Now that I'm focusing on it, I can't stop a flush from burning my ears and cheeks. Please, don't be showing through my fur. Navigating the hallway got a lot more awkward with Lucas hanging off my arm. Suddenly, this already cramped hallway feels even more tight. I'm actively looking away, trying to find something to focus on when Lucas pipes up, concern lacing his voice. Are you okay? What? Are you doing okay? You got really quiet all of a sudden. Did I do something wrong? I can feel my eyebrows shooting off my head. Of course he'd think I'm upset with him. I suddenly went quiet after he gets upset. That's really unfair of me. No, of course not. I just felt a little awkward, that's all. Awkward about what? I'm not used to this amount of physical affection. I just feel a bit flustered, that's all. Why would that make you uncomfortable? I'm just holding on to you. He looks over at me with a genuine look of confusion. His eyebrows raised and his head is tilted at an angle. If I had been in a better mindset, I might have thought it cute. It's just, don't worry about it. I like it, so you don't have to stop. Then he does something I didn't even realize I'd been missing. His mouth covers up into a smile. A small, soft smile. It's nothing major, but it's like a breath of fresh air, despite the way it makes my face turn into an inferno. Let's look around. There's bound to be something, right? And maybe an AC to cool this place down. I'm used to a lot of heat, but doesn't mean I like it. As we pick up our pace from a slow slog to an actual walk, we finally make some actual progress. I feel like we've been in the same hallway for over 10 minutes, and with the rate we've been going, I believe it. Hopefully we can find some way to meet up with Lily again soon. I think both of us could use some pleasant company. He's still clinging onto my arm. I guess this place has spooked him pretty bad. Not that I can't blame him. That's when I see something I feel like I haven't seen for at least an hour. A door! Now that I think about it, this place has been weirdly barren of anywhere to go but forward. This place has always felt a little off, but now I feel more uneasy than I've ever felt in my life. Something about this place isn't right, and I'll take any door if it means getting out of here faster. Lucas lets out a little yelp as I try to run towards it, accidentally dragging him along. I'd totally forgotten he was leaning against me. Oh god, sorry, I didn't mean to... It's fine. Let's just see what's behind this door. I'm eager to get out of here, too. He signals for me to go ahead and push through to a large room filled with furniture. The most noticeable is a large table in the middle, surrounded by cushioned chairs that look comfier than any I've sat in before. The rest of the room is surprisingly inviting. The walls are a light cream yellow and are covered in children's drawings, while the floors are covered in navy blue carpet. It's nostalgic. The only place devoid of carpet is one of the corners. It's covered instead by a vinyl and houses a sink. Looks like there's a bar of pink soap in there, too. Along the wall next to it resides a wide shelf that holds rows of large crates, each of them filled up with different toys. This room is where they take kids to help them with any speech therapy they need. It's hard to keep them focused and sometimes they get upset. The toys are there to keep them happy. Been somewhere like this before? Not somewhere as fancy as this, but yes. We only had a single crate filled with random toys. Nothing as extravagant as that shelf. Taking a couple steps in, Lucas does finally pull away from me now. He's looking around the room with a sense of nostalgia. His body comes to life with little twitches of his whiskers, flicks of his ears, and flicking of his tail. Did you like it here? I think so. It's been a long time. The lady who helped me would sometimes bring in cookies with her and share them with me. It's really nice of her. Probably for the best. I bet kids were a bit nervous. Something I said must have struck a nerve because his ears droop and his tail drops limp behind him. I was such a little shit while I was here. I'd constantly scream and be a little asshole. I remember one time I got upset because she didn't bring cookies that day. He turns away from me and walks towards the sink, but I intercept him, grabbing his arm. My grip is loose, but he can pull away easily whenever he wants. I don't want him to feel trapped. But he doesn't pull away. Instead, he just stops and stares at the ground. I can see a couple of drops of tears dripping to the ground. Hey now, it's not fair. You were only a kid. But the fact that you know that doing that is bad shows that she did her job. I bet if she met you now, she'd be proud of who you've become. It causes him to turn to me, his ears still pressing down against his scalp. His head is turned away from me, but his eyes are locked with mine. They're glistening, and the corners are beginning to show signs of becoming bloodshot. He looks like he wants to argue, but he's holding it in. I don't know if it's because he wants to believe it, or if he just wants to avoid the topic. Either way, I shouldn't push him. If this place is upsetting you, we can leave. He mulls over this, staring down at his feet in silence. This holds some intense memories if he's considering this much. For a couple seconds, he looks up to me with a smile. There's signs of strain, but it doesn't look forced. I don't even know if he can fake a smile. He just looks tired. I want to stay here, just a little longer. Can we sit down? Of course. How? Oh! My voice is cut off when Lucas pulls his arm out of my grip and slides his hand into its place, pulling me to the table. It's done so suddenly, so casually, that I'm left unable to respond. But Oscar would have a field day with this. That's when I see Lucas's ears lifting off the top of his head and his tail bounce in excitement. That makes all the embarrassing feelings worth it. Plus, I like the feeling of his hand in mine. It's warm and his fur has a soft, silky texture. Likely from expensive shampoo, if I had to guess. Alright guys and gals, I'm going to go ahead and pause it right there. Thank you all so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, ring that notification bell. Leave a super thanks or tip if you can, it always helps. Until the next video, I love you all. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye!